Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to round 6 of the AROC Racing League's Touring Car Championship for the second half of 2024. We are here this evening at the Circuito de Jimenez Rodriguez. Oh, sorry, it's the Autodromo. Actually, I was getting so close to actually getting it right for once. Never mind, we're at the Mexico Grand Prix circuit anyway here for a fabulous event. The 6th round of this 8-round championship, as I say, so not too far to go at all, just over 5 minutes to go on the clock in this qualifying session as well. A qualifying session being led by this man here, David Jelly, leading the championship, of course, leads this session. His rival not looking like he's going to be here this evening, so it's just going to be an out-and-out run for David Jelly. A bit of oversteer creeping in this Giulietta WTCR, then the back end stepping out rather nicely. Looks good, but it is going to cost him time. He's just ahead of Andy Craker, running in P2 at the moment. It is Andy at 148.1, so that's actually incorrect there to 147.2 for Andy Craker, just 1,000th of a second behind David Jelly there at 147.239, so very close running indeed so far in this session, and they are just ahead of Alan Matthews, Will Inglis, Paul Milne and Guy Swarbrick, as well as Matt Daly to round out our 7-car field for the event this evening. Of course, a unique track is this circuit in the sense that, yes, it's got some lovely high-speed sections like what we're on with at the moment with David Jelly here as we run into that first corner, the S's, but we're very high up in terms of altitude, so downforce is at a bit of a premium here. You might expect to be running slightly higher downforce levels for these cars, so you might usually expect to see a lower wing level. We're actually going to go for a more higher downforce setup on these cars, but the speeds will still be nice and high just because that air is slightly thinner out there. It won't affect, though, these turbocharged engines in these cars, so there's plenty of power on tap. 350 horsepower plus in these Giulietta WTCRs from that 4-cylinder turbo engine, which will not have any type of struggles really with these different conditions here in Mexico. Just over 3 minutes to go in this session then, still being led by David Jelly, who's enjoying sliding that car around. It looks like it's a bit of a, I'm not going to say a handful, look quite enjoyable to drive actually, but that might just be my weird driving style. I quite enjoy a bit of oversteer, particularly in a front-wheel drive car, so might just be myself talking there. But Will Inglis dives into the pits. 147.7 at the moment for him. He's not quite there with our 2 front runners here, but let's see what he can do in the final few moments of this session. He will be able to get out on track and post probably another lap, maybe a second. No, in fact, it will just be the one fast lap that he is able to complete. So these are going to be the final attempts now coming up for these drivers with 2 minutes 40 seconds left to go. David Jelly heads back onto that start-finish straight. It's not an improvement so far through the first couple of corners. Back on to that start-finish straight, then losing out as well through the third sector. That sees him still with provisional pole, but by quite literally the thinnest of margins. You can't get any thinner of a margin than this. It's 1,000th of a second between David and Andy in this session so far. Up next across the line, it is Matt Daly. Matt Daly currently 5th fastest. I suspect we should see a bit of progression from him in the later stages of this session. Paul Milman and Guy Swarbrick also improving as we go on board with Paul Milman here. Improves as a personal best there through the first sector, but actually overall loses out there. It's a 150.7 for Paul Milman to beat. Let's see if he can do that. Just behind Paul is Guy Swarbrick as well. Going to be running 7th in this session. Was lapping the 156s earlier, so has already made a decent chunk of time up so far in the 25 minutes of this session, or 24 minutes of this session we've had so far. Let's see if Guy can push on and get a bit closer to the likes of Paul Milman and potentially Alan Matthews, Matt Daly as well in this session. So coming across the line first, it will actually be Will Inglis. Will Inglis obviously just leaving the pits, so this will be our first and in fact last fast lap attempt of this stint for Will Inglis. So let's see now as he heads through the Peraltada and back on to the first straight, as it is translated into English, as I believe. Could be completely wrong there, but I'm not going to attempt the Spanish pronunciations there, so don't worry, everyone. As we head on to the start-finish straight then, Will Inglis losing out, of course, because he hasn't actually set a decent lap last time around with that out lap, so let's see what he does into this first corner. The predicted lap time in the bottom left-hand side of your screen there is going to be slightly out of kilter as he has just left the pits. So not too much data for the system to go on. So it's just going to be raw speed that we get to watch here as we head on to the next straight now before we run into the second sector. This track is one of those circuits where braking zones are oh so important. As you run into corners like this one here, there's an overtaking opportunity actually if we run through this 4th and 5th corner complex. Before we got the relatively tight, at least for this circuit, hairpin. But the next hairpin, or not hairpin, next tight bend that comes up is the Peraltada at the very end of the lap. And so far it's looking good for Will Inglis. He's pretty much there or thereabouts with his first sector one time, or rather his previous sector one time, as the checkered flag does drop on this session. So Alan Matthews will be next to cross the line. He does not improve on that final attempt.